wanted to share this and get this off my chest. It's been a rough day today. Today's been rough. Very, very rough.
Didn't know I was going to be filming a video today. And didn't know that I was going to be emotional today. Hey guys. I'm sorry if this doesn't interest you at all. But I had to make a response to Wonderfully Allie's video. And I hope that she sees this. Because she struck such a chord with me in what she just said. I'm sorry, I'm not doing this like for attention. I'm doing this because I think it's important that she knows that she's not alone and that what she's going through is normal, and that I'm going through the same thing. When you have to use a burp cloth for a tissue. So, in her video that she released this morning at like 1 o'clock in the morning my time, she talks about having postpartum anxiety. She talks about dealing with the death of her grandmother, and she talks about grieving a relationship with her mother who she no longer speaks to, and doesn't want to talk about that more because she doesn't want to make the situation worse. And she talks about feeling like she's failing as a mom, wife, and as a YouTuber. And like every single one of those is something that I feel on a daily basis. She says that she was diagnosed with postpartum anxiety. That's something I suspect that I have. I have not been diagnosed with it. I'm diagnosed with OCD, and I've had anxiety for years and been on medication for it. I'm not currently on medication. I got off of medication when I was pregnant, and I haven't gotten back on. And I've been wary about getting back on right now because I'm nursing and I don't want it to affect that. But where to begin, Allie? First of all, I love your videos. I have for years. She is a flight attendant, and she posts really cool videos about what it's like being a flight attendant, and you know, like how their schedules work, or how she works with having 3 kids. She's got 3 little boys, and right now she had her baby not long before I did. Like we're very close to the same wavelength, I guess you could call it. But she posted a video today. She's about to start going back to work, and she's talking about how stressful it is, and how these crazy thoughts have been going through her head. Not crazy, I don't mean that you're crazy, but like logically she knows that these things aren't happening, but she can't help but think them. Like she was out at the grocery store and saying she felt like everyone that stared at her and her son for more than a couple seconds was trying to take her son from her. And it's like, logically, you know that's not happening, but it doesn't stop the intrusiveness of those thoughts. I can relate to that right now. I haven't really been out in public too much, so I'm not having that, but being worried about my son's health, even though he's perfectly fine and healthy, sends me into an absolute anxiety attack. I'm also dealing with my grandmother passing, and I had 3 grandmothers. My mom had a mom and a stepmom, and this was the last of the 3 to go. And honestly, the first of the 3, I don't feel like I've been the same ever since. The first of the 3 was the one that really made me start uploading on YouTube. If you guys go back a couple years, you'll see where I talk about grief and anxiety. That was about the first grandmother that passed. And I don't feel like I've ever been the same since, because that grandmother was really like a mother to me. And she was the person who I could have those long phone conversations with, those long talks with, and don't feel like I have that so much anymore. So I haven't really been the same ever since. And then my most recent grandmother's passing was really hard too. it was easier because I knew what to expect, and it was easier because it wasn't sudden. But it sucks. And then not talking to your mom. She talked about having to cut her mom out of her life. And that's something I did years ago. And my mother and I have been civil more recently, in like the last year. But I haven't talked to her in a while. I think she's mad at me. Whatever, I don't care. She's been mad at me my whole life. I don't know what the details are between Allie and her mother. But I can relate to that very much. She said that she's mourning the loss of that relationship. And I'm not assuming, and I'm not putting words in your mouth. But what I feel there is mourning a relationship that never was, if that makes sense. A relationship my mother thought we had that we never really did. And sort of like anger towards that. I was very much the parent in our relationship, and that's molded me a lot as a person. And it was something I dealt with from a very young age with her. And in my 20s, I had to separate from it. It wasn't healthy anymore for me. It absolutely wrecked me as a person for years. And that's also something I don't know that I'll ever fully go into, because I don't know if she watches my channel, and I don't know if it's going to make things worse. And she has been okay the last year. We've been okay, and I'm okay with that. And she hasn't met her grandson yet, and if she ever wants to, that's up to her. And that would be like at family events and stuff. And right now she's mad at her whole family, apparently. But that's something that she does every once in a while. But if she wants to be okay and wants to continue being the way we've been the past year, that's okay. And I'm not in a rush to make anything worse or anything better, if that makes sense. I'm just going to let it lie, because I've tried too much in my life, and I very much have a wall up. And there's just a lot of anxiety that people don't talk about in relation to postpartum. People talk about postpartum depression, but I don't feel depressed. I do feel sad some days, but more than anything, I feel anxiety. I feel like the thoughts of what could happen and the what ifs are absolutely overwhelming. And I feel like the deeper I get into my mind, I've always been a person who isn't afraid to get really deep into myself, whether that be in a good place or a bad place. It's been therapeutic for me. And for the first time in my life, it's like I don't really want anything to do with the thoughts in my head. I don't want to delve into them because it doesn't make me feel better. It freaks me out. For the first time in my life, I'm trying to distract myself from my own mind. I've never done that before. I've always faced it head on. I've always dealt with it or sulked in it or mourned in it, whatever I had to do. And for the first time, it's like I don't want anything to do with it. I keep just playing stupid, funny movies on TV to distract myself. I keep just delving into cleaning the house or working or whatever I can do to distract myself. So yeah. You're not alone, Allie. I feel everything that you said to an incredible degree, and I just wanted you to know that. What you're feeling is normal. I know that you know that, but it's nice to hear it. What you're feeling is absolutely normal. It sucks, but it's absolutely normal. And she's been through having kids before, and she's been through having postpartum before, so she knows what it's like. And she talks about being afraid of going there again, of feeling that again. I can't speak to that. I can only speak to just anxiety that I've dealt with since I was a teenager, which isn't the same as postpartum anxiety, I don't think. Postpartum is worse. But I just wanted to make this to tell her, if she sees this, if for some reason she sees this, that she's not alone and that everything's going to be okay. And that I'm saying this to anyone who's going through this: postpartum anxiety, regular anxiety, depression, postpartum depression. And I'm saying it to myself, that everything is going to be okay. It just might be shitty for a little while. That's the best way to think of it, in my opinion. I don't know. It's accepting the reality of what is and opening up for the possibility of what can be. It sounded really like philosophical, and I didn't really mean it to sound that way, but I hope that makes sense. So yeah, Allie, if you ever want a friend to talk to that's going through exactly what you're going through, maybe not exactly what you're going through, but weirdly similar things to what you're going through, feel free to reach out to me. I would love to talk to you and be able to just vent to each other, whatever. That sounds stupid. That sounds like I'm like, be my friend. But I mean, really, if you need someone to talk to, I'm going through a very similar thing. So I hope you all are doing well. I hope everyone's doing okay with what's going on with quarantining and stuff. And I feel like that has a lot to do with my mental state, and it could have some things to do with Allie's mental state. I don't know. It's a more stressful time than it's ever been, and going through postpartum isn't easy with that. So I'm sorry that this was your surprise video for today, everybody, but that's what it is. That's what my life is right now. That's what Allie's life is right now, and that's probably what a lot of people's life is right now. So just wanted to get on here and sort of get that off my chest. And thanks for posting that, Allie, because you really struck a chord with me in a good way. It's nice to know I'm not the only person going through what I'm going through. And I hope someone else out there sees her video and or my video and thinks, wow, you're also not the only person going through it. I'll see you guys next week.